Shalom. Kol halal Yahweh Bashanah Shai Bahashem Rakaha Kodash. Double honors unto the apostles, double honors unto the elder bishops. Salutations to all my fellow laborers doing this work in truth and sincerity, risking their lives and their freedom to do so now more so than ever. To the scattered elect that are scattered around the four corners of the earth, that be like unto the speckled bird, the Israelite foreigners among the heathen nations that look like the heathens. And to the Akwaf that are listening and learning, to you I say Shalom. This is your brother Malcolm from the branch of the Great Millstone here in Chicago, coming at you with another lesson in truth. And what you're looking at is a scene from the Netflix series Vikings of Valhalla Season 2. And this is episode 6. And, it's a pretty good show. And, for many years, knowing the history about, that the Vikings were not white people and all that sort of thing, I couldn't bring myself to watch this stuff once I learned that truth because it just would anger me. But now I watch it just for its historical value, because what they get right about all of this is they completely and totally can get the dress, the the weapons, the clothing, the places, they get all that down pat, but yet they can't seem to get the aesthetics right, because the women here, the women that look like her during this time were concubines, servants and handmaids. They were not the ruling class people, and there's so much evidence, but they make a lot of money off of this. And this lie is one they're gonna hold on to until the Lord forces them to, brings them on the foot. But that was not supposed to happen. But there we go. We just pause it again. And but this particular woman here, she's above men, which is beyond wrong and completely wrong. As a matter of fact, let's go to Jeremiah, because the Lord warned that this would happen. Now, as far as the, I do know the history about this, that the Vikings were not so-called white people and that whole sort of thing. But what I don't know if it's true or not of all, and I don't believe that it's true with all this shield maiden stuff. All right, and if that be so, then that would explain why they lost so many battles. All right, but because women were not meant to be standing at the gates or raiding villages. This nothing but Satan, because it's never done this before. Normally when I pause something on here, it stays there. This has never happened. I've done a lot of videos this way. It's nothing but Satan. But this is Jeremiah. The book of Jeremiah 31. I believe it's 22. Yes, and it reads, "How long wilt thou go about, O thou backsliding daughter? For Yahweh hath created a new thing in the earth, and a woman shall compass a man." Meaning, get from under the authority. All right, that's literally what the word means. And women actually have compassed men, and this woman is defeating multiple men by herself and in battle, and you have these women really thinking they could do that, because you know what? If women could do that, they'd still be able to do it today, and they can't. You ever seen when the women get in the ring with the boxing, co-ed boxing or co-ed MMA, it doesn't end well at all. All right, so and this is a trained athlete who can dominate other women, but can't get in the ring with one man. So how are you gonna fight multiple? So I don't believe that portion of this was true. Though this video, I'm trying to cover multiple topics with this, and you see the confusion that it's bringing as we're celebrating. I mean, I'm celebrating right now through the spirit all the things that are happening negatively to America. Let it fall. You know, and I welcome that part. And this women in charge and women having voices is all a part of that. The emasculation of men and the emasculating of women. It's all backwards and it's wrong. And the Lord and I'm glad the Lord is turning these people right now. The Congress. I mean, not the Congress, but the Republicans and I guess Congress. The Republicans and the Democrats are in lock because today was the day that Janet Yellen put out an order. This unelected individual to confiscate bank accounts and confiscate pensions and things like that to put toward the debt, and they're promising that they will put the money back in the citizens' accounts after taxes. And and everyone, please, if they take that money, people are never going to see that money again. But and that's and that's one thing. All right. So I want to switch gears here and go to the book of Ezekiel, to the 23rd chapter, and now I'm going to talk about Israel, and I'm going to start at verse 23. 23 and 1, and it says, "And the word of Yahweh came again unto me, saying, Son of man, there were two women, the daughters of one mother." All right, and this is actually talking about the northern and southern kingdom. All right, but you can also parallel this to the way our women act today, which is punishment to us. Because we, as the men of, the sons of God, the sons of power, committed whoredoms against our power. And look at the situation, with our women today, collectively. All right, and it says, and they committed whoredoms in Egypt. They committed whoredoms in their youth. There were their breasts pressed and bruised in the teats of their virginity. So, meaning their breasts were pressed, like when a man's chest is up against it, and then the teats were, well, you can figure it out. You can kind of, and you're right, and the teeth, and the bruised in the teats of their virginity. So, they were getting ran through. All right, it's making a comparison, and it says, and the names of them were Aholah, the elder, and Aholibah, her sister. And they were mine, and they bare sons and daughters, and their names were Samaria is Aloha, and Jerusalem is Aholibah. So, like I said, this was talking about the northern and southern kingdom, making a comparison to what's going on with the women of Israel today and with the women in the West in general. All right, and it says, and Aholah played the harlot, and she was mine, and she was doted of her lovers on the Assyrians, her neighbors. So the northern kingdom went into the Assyrian captivity. All right, and it says, and which were clothed with blue, captains and rulers, and all of them desirable young men, horsemen riding upon horses, and man, these women riding upon horses on the carousel, from horse to horse on that carousel. They try to ride every horse on there. And then the man, I watched the video today where the woman was demanding how her husband needed to make, at least anywhere between $300,000 to $700,000 a year to fit her lifestyle. And I'm thinking, you can't even offer this man purity. What can you offer him? You can't bring forth his children out of a pure vessel. You didn't been through probably hundreds of men, because that's normal in this society at this point. All right, that's normal. These women are starting, sex in grade school. They've had multiple partners by the time they get out of high school. They go to college, or they go to the military. It's over. And then after that, they go into their professional lives if they don't get married right away. And and then at 40 years old, like this one, She wants to have a baby. And what made me decide to use her face is that in this right here, she just gave birth to a son, and they took her son from her. And she almost lost her life and lost a child, all because she didn't stand by her man. Just like we as the Israelites didn't stand by our power. All right? So I'm trying to make all this, wrap together so that you get an understanding. The comparison between the northern and southern kingdoms, whoredoms, which was us, the sons of God, and then, and then the way women are behaving today, especially our women. All right? Because it talked about Aholah, what she did with the Assyrians. Well, Jerusalem, which represents the southern kingdom, did the same thing, in the Babylonian captivity. All right, playing the whore. All right, so, but this particular woman right here, she, like I said, disobeying her husband, not even letting him know that he had a son. So he's away on a whole nother mission, and she's here about to fight a man, all right, to try to get her own son back. But how she stayed with her man, she wouldn't have gone through all that. And she also was looked at as a god, all this woman worship, and she was praying to many gods, all these different idols. So this chapter, I just read this chapter the other day, and it just all kind of, came together in my head. I was like, you know what, I need to do something with this. I need to read these scriptures and give some examples. But it says, I'm gonna jump down to verse 7, and it says, thus she committed her whoredoms with them, with all of them that were chosen men of Assyria, and with all them whom she doted, and their idols, and she defiled herself. Just like this one was praying to all them different gods. Neither left she her whoredoms brought from Egypt for her youth. They lay with her, and they bruised the breast of her virginity, and poured their whoredom upon her. Well, you can imagine what was being shut out and poured upon her. It says, wherefore I have delivered her into the hand of her lovers, and in the hand of her lovers upon whom she doted. And these have discovered her nakedness, and took her sons and daughters, and slew her with the sword, and she became famous among women, for they had an executed judgment upon her. And that sounds so much like what was happening here in this particular, with this individual. All right? And when her sister Aholibah saw this, she was more corrupt in her inordinate love than she, and in her whoredoms more than her sister in her whoredoms. So both the northern and southern kingdom, and we went off and we failed, and it's rough, man. It's rough. Many men are out here struggling, and now the women are too. They're seeing their damage, but the damage is so far gone. With this split and this divide through all of humanity, because Esau is divided. That's why the kingdom is fallen. But yet Israel is divided between the male and the female, and then of course between the 2/3 and the elect, the 1/3 and the 2/3. So, and we're out here pushing and telling our people that they need to come back to the Lord, and now all the signs are coming to pass. And Jacob's trouble is nearly at hand. These things that are happening with this financial system, leading to the CBCD, or however the digital currency, and the collapse of the dollar, and the taking of the money, and how it's going to be connected to the to the CHIP, to the MOTB, is all coming to pass. So time is very, very short. So when you read the scriptures, what we're supposed to do is embrace this and let it be. Matter of fact, let me scripture am I looking for? Romans. It says the things written aforetime was for our learning. I know it's in Romans. I'm trying to remember. I think it's Romans. The water. Yahweh brought it back to me. Romans 15:4, and it reads, "For whatsoever things were written aforetime were written for our learning, that we through patience and the comfort of the scriptures might have hope. All right? That we might have hope, because, this is all Hollywood, her with her sword and all this stuff, because it's this, we're supposed to learn from this and turn away and follow the Lord. And with the things that are about to come, man, swords are about to swing, blood is about to shed. And truth be said, women are going to catch the brunt end of all this. There are more women of Israel than there are men, and there are more than 2/3 are women than there are men. It's as simple as that. Because when the women of Israel outnumber the men of Israel. Matter of fact, when women outnumber men, period. Because every man is supposed to have multiple wives. That's biblical. All right, but that's the reason why there's so many women. But as I read, let me read that again. Romans 15:4, it says, "For whatsoever things are written aforetime were written for our learning, that we through patience and comfort of the scriptures might have hope." So our hope is in these scriptures. Our hope is in following Yahweh Shai. All right, and repenting of our sins and turning our back on sin. So you women out there who believe, you especially if you have a man that's in this truth. If you don't worry about the Lord. And if you believe, the Lord will, no woman's going to the kingdom single. No woman's going to be on the other side, one, single and independent. All right? Because all that'll get you is like the situation that she's in. All right? With a man away and her having to face down a male warrior with her, and who's got her child. All right? Because when Ezekiel 9:4 comes, women not going to fare too well. This is not going to be some Hollywood stunt scene, choreographed fight scene. All right, so that was pretty much it. I just wanted to get into that Ezekiel and bring out a few precepts, and link it up with the imagery, and from the storyline in this show, which I highly recommend, especially for the historical value of it. Just know that Vikings were not so-called white people, like they've, like they continue to push that lie in Hollywood. That was a complete fabrication, right? Myself and many brothers have done so many videos on the subject matter and produced the receipts to prove what we're saying. But outside all that, I just want to give all praises, all honor and glory unto Yahweh, by Hashem, Yahweh Shai, by Hashem, Rakaha Kodash, Wa Abba Kwam Yasrala Shalom.